Rain lashed against the attic window pane, a melancholic rhythm accompanying Amelia's exploration. The sound was almost hypnotic, a steady beat that seemed to echo the pulse of her own heart. Cobwebs clung to her hair like ghostly fingers, remnants of a time long forgotten. Each step she took stirred up more of the ancient dust, making the air thick and heavy. Dust motes danced in the weak beam of her flashlight, creating a mesmerizing ballet of light and shadow. It was as if the very air was alive with secrets waiting to be uncovered.
She paused, her hand hovering over a leather-bound book tucked away in a forgotten corner. The book seemed to call out to her, its presence almost magnetic. Its title, Love's Eternal Melody, shimmered in gold leaf, barely discernible beneath a layer of grime. The letters, though faded, held a certain elegance that spoke of a bygone era. Beside it lay a silver pendant, its intricate design whispering of forgotten stories. The pendant seemed to pulse with a life of its own, as if it held memories within its delicate curves.
Drawn by an invisible force, Amelia reached out, her fingers tracing the book's spine and the pendant's cool metal. The textures were a stark contrast, the roughness of the book and the smooth, cold surface of the pendant. A shiver, not entirely unpleasant, danced down her spine, and she knew, with unshakable certainty, that her life was about to change. The air seemed to hum with potential, a promise of revelations to come.
Amelia carefully lifted the book, feeling its weight in her hands. It was heavier than she expected, as if it carried the weight of the stories within. Its pages, yellowed with time, whispered secrets as she opened it. Each turn of the page seemed to release a sigh, a breath of history. The scent of old parchment, of vanilla, and a hint of something vaguely floral wafted up to her. It was a scent that spoke of age and wisdom, of stories waiting to be told. The words, penned in elegant calligraphy, were unlike any language she had ever encountered. The script flowed like a river, each letter a work of art. Yet somehow she understood them. The meaning of the words seemed to bypass her mind and speak directly to her soul. They spoke of a love that transcended time, of a melody capable of weaving together the threads of past, present, and future. It was a story that felt both ancient and timeless, a tale of enduring passion.
As she delved deeper into the book's mysteries, her fingers brushed against a small, velvet-lined compartment built into the cover. The compartment was almost invisible, a hidden treasure within a treasure. Inside, nestled like a precious secret, lay a key. The key was small and ornate, its design intricate and beautiful. It was cold to the touch, its metal warmed only by the heat of her anticipation. She could feel the weight of its significance, a tangible link to the past.
Clutching both the book and the key, Amelia descended from the attic, her heart pounding in her chest. Each step felt like a journey into the unknown, a descent into a world of possibilities. She didn't yet understand the significance of her discovery, but she knew with every fiber of her being that she had stumbled upon something extraordinary. The book and the key were more than just objects. They were gateways to a story that was waiting to be told.
The rain continued its relentless assault on the window panes, but within the confines of her small room, Amelia felt a different kind of storm brewing. A tempest of curiosity, excitement, and a flicker of trepidation. The outside world seemed distant, almost irrelevant compared to the storm of emotions within her. As she turned the key over in her hands, its surface smooth and cool, she couldn't shake off the feeling that she held the key not just to a forgotten story, but to a destiny waiting to unfold. The key was a promise, a potential for adventure and discovery that lay just beyond the horizon. Aethel Academy loomed before Amelia, its Gothic towers scraping at the overcast sky, casting long shadows that seemed to reach out and pull her in. Gargoyles perched on the ancient stone walls, their expressions a mixture of menace and amusement, as if they knew secrets she could never fathom. The wind howled through the ivy that clawed its way up the building's facade, whispering tales of forgotten lore and ancient mysteries.
Clutching the pendant found alongside the book, now warm against her skin, Amelia took a hesitant step towards the imposing oak doors, feeling the weight of history pressing down on her. The inscription above them, "Where knowledge and destiny converge," did little to calm the nervous flutter in her stomach, a reminder of the unknown path she was about to tread. She felt utterly out of place, a modern girl on the cusp of a mystery older than time itself, standing at the threshold of a world she barely understood.
Deep within the Academy's hushed library, Professor Hawthorne, with his shock of white hair and piercing blue eyes, listened intently to Amelia's tale, his demeanor both welcoming and enigmatic. His gaze, sharp and intelligent, never left her face as she spoke of the attic discovery, the book, the pendant, and the overwhelming sense of destiny that had led her to Aethel's doorstep, a journey that seemed preordained. When she finished, a pregnant silence filled the room, broken only by the ticking of the antique grandfather clock in the corner, each tick echoing the weight of her words.
And he examined the book, his fingers tracing the faded gold lettering with reverence, as if touching a relic from a bygone era. "Love's eternal melody," he murmured, his voice a low rumble that seemed to resonate with the very walls of the library. "A legend, some would say. A mere fairy tale," he continued, his tone both skeptical and intrigued.
"But it's not a fairy tale, is it, Professor?" Amelia asked, her voice barely a whisper, filled with a mix of hope and fear. She didn't need the book's words to tell her that this was more than just a story. It was a part of her, a connection she felt deep within. She could feel it in her bones, in the very marrow that held her together, a truth that transcended time and space.
The professor's lips curved into a knowing smile, a gesture that spoke volumes. "Fairy tales, my dear, often hold more truth than history books," he replied, his eyes twinkling with a wisdom that seemed to span centuries. "But the truth, like love itself, is rarely straightforward," he added, his voice tinged with a hint of melancholy. "It is a labyrinth of hidden passages and unexpected turns, a journey that requires both courage and faith." He gestured towards a worn map spread out on the table before them, its edges frayed with age, a testament to countless explorations. "This," he said, tapping a spot near the bottom, "is where your journey truly begins. The Hall of Forgotten Lore, a place where the past and future intertwine."
The air in the Hall of Forgotten Lore was heavy with the weight of centuries. Dust lay thick on the shelves, coating the countless artifacts with a patina of forgotten memories. Amelia ran her fingers along the spines of ancient books, their titles promising forgotten magic and forbidden knowledge. Each step she took seemed to echo through the vast chamber, amplifying the silence that hung in the air like a shroud.
She could almost hear the whispers of the past, the echoes of voices long silenced. It was as if the very walls themselves held their breath, waiting for her to unlock the secrets they guarded. Her gaze fell upon a glass case tucked away in a shadowy alcove, its contents bathed in a soft ethereal light. Inside, resting on a bed of faded velvet, lay a music box. Its intricate carvings depicted a scene of a moonlit garden, the figures frozen mid-dance, their expressions a mixture of longing and joy.
As she leaned closer, drawn in by its melancholic beauty, she noticed an inscription etched into the base, "The Heart's Sonata." It was the same phrase she had found underlined in the book, the words practically leaping off the aged parchment. She knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that this music box was the key to unraveling the mystery that had consumed her ever since she discovered the book.
With trembling hands, Amelia lifted the music box from its resting place. It was heavier than she expected, the metal cold against her skin. As she traced the intricate carvings, her fingers brushed against a small, almost imperceptible button. A soft click echoed through the silent chamber, and the lid of the music box swung open. Inside, nestled amongst the delicate gears and springs, lay a single sheet of music. The notes, faded with time but still visible, seemed to beckon her, promising a journey beyond anything she could have ever imagined. Closing her eyes, she took a deep breath and began to play.
The music swelled, filling the air with a haunting melody that seemed to vibrate within Amelia's very soul. Each note resonated deeply, stirring emotions she had long forgotten. The world around her dissolved into a swirl of colors and light, the musty scent of the Hall of Forgotten Lore replaced by the delicate perfume of roses and sandalwood. It was as if she had been transported to another time, another place, where magic and reality intertwined seamlessly. When the room solidified once more, she found herself standing in a grand ballroom, the air alive with the sound of laughter and the strains of a waltz. The atmosphere was electric, filled with an energy that made her heart race.
Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting a warm glow over the elegantly dressed men and women twirling across the polished marble floor. The light reflected off their jewels, creating a dazzling display of colors. The music, she realized, was no longer coming from the music box in her hands, but from a live orchestra tucked away in a corner, their instruments filling the air with a vibrant energy that set her heart racing. The musicians played with such passion that it felt as though the music itself was alive.
She was dressed, she realized, in an elaborate gown of emerald silk, its skirts billowing around her like soft waves. The fabric shimmered in the light, making her feel like a queen from a fairy tale. A gasp escaped her lips as she caught sight of her reflection in a gilded mirror. She could hardly believe the transformation. Her hair, usually worn loose, was piled atop her head in an intricate arrangement of braids and curls, adorned with glittering jewels. Each jewel sparkled like a tiny star, adding to the enchantment of the moment. She looked, she thought, with a mixture of wonder and apprehension, as if she had stepped straight out of a portrait from a bygone era. The elegance and grace she saw in the mirror were almost unrecognizable.
Before she could fully process her surroundings, a hand touched her arm, and a voice, rich and warm, broke through the music. It was a voice that seemed to carry with it a promise of adventure and mystery. "May I have this dance, mademoiselle?" The words were spoken with such grace and confidence that Amelia felt her heart skip a beat.
Amelia turned, her heart pounding in her chest, to find herself face to face with a young man. His presence was both comforting and exhilarating. His eyes, the color of warm chocolate, held a mixture of amusement and admiration. They seemed to see right through her, understanding her in a way no one else ever had. His smile was hesitant, almost shy, yet it transformed his features, revealing a kindness that shone brighter than the jewels adorning his velvet waistcoat. It was a smile that promised safety and companionship. He extended his hand, his fingers long and elegant, and Amelia found herself placing her own within his grasp. The touch was gentle, yet it sent a thrill through her entire being.
As they glided onto the dance floor, swept away by the music and the swirling skirts of the other dancers, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had known him forever. It was as if their souls had danced together in another lifetime.
"I am William," he murmured, his voice a low rumble against her ear, "and I believe this waltz was destined for us." His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, filling her with a sense of belonging and destiny.